Many people want to manage their time better, but they start in the wrong place. And because of that, they keep buying planners, filling calendars, making to-do lists, and trying new systems, but they still feel rushed, overwhelmed, and behind. So today, I want to show you a simpler and more realistic way to think about time. We're going to talk about the mindset behind time management, why some people always feel like there is never enough time, and how to make better decisions with your schedule so that you stop feeling busy all the time and start feeling more in control. And before we begin, please subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment below. That really helps us grow the channel and helps more people find simple lessons on business, money, and wise living. Let's start with the biggest idea. Most people think time management is mainly about planning. But very often, time management starts much deeper than that. It starts with mindset. In the same way that financial improvement often begins with a healthier money mindset, better use of time often begins with a healthier belief system about time. That matters because many people do not just have a scheduling problem. They have a scarcity mindset problem. They live as if there is never enough time. And that mindset shapes everything. It creates pressure, it creates rushing, it creates anxiety, and it creates the constant feeling that life is always slipping away faster than they can handle. This is what I would call a poverty mentality with time. A poverty mentality with money says, there is never enough. A poverty mentality with time says, I do not have enough time. Now, of course, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. So this is not about denying reality. This is about how we approach reality. Because when people believe there is never enough time, they start reacting to life instead of leading it. They rush. They multitask badly. They say yes too quickly. They feel guilty when they rest. They feel pressure before they even begin. And the strange thing is that this mindset usually makes time feel even worse. Because pressure reduces clarity. And when clarity goes down, wasted time usually goes up. Now compare that with a healthier mindset. A healthier time mindset says, I have all the time that I need. That sentence may sound strange at first. You may think, no, I do not. I'm overloaded. But the point is not that you suddenly have more hours than everyone else. The point is that you stop starting from panic. You stop assuming lack. And when you do that, something changes. You often become calmer. You become clearer. You become more focused. And you start working with intention instead of pressure. That is the beginning of an abundance mindset with time. Again, this does not deny the fact that everyone has the same 24 hours. It simply changes how we use them. Let me make that practical. Sometimes a task feels like it will take 3 or 4 hours. But when you suddenly get clarity, focus, and the right mindset, you finish it in 30 minutes. Why does that happen? Because time was not the only issue. Confusion was the issue. Distraction was the issue. Mental pressure was the issue. Lack of concentration was the issue. In other words, the feeling of not enough time is often connected to the way we are thinking, not just the number of hours on the clock. That is an important lesson, because many people do not actually need a more complicated calendar. They need a healthier way of seeing their life. Now, does that mean we do not need tools? Of course not. Mindset matters, but structure matters too. Once your thinking begins to change, then you can start making better decisions with your week. One helpful idea is to design what some people call an ideal work week. In other words, instead of letting every day happen to you, you begin thinking intentionally about your rhythm. What kind of week actually helps you live and work well? When are you at your best? When should you do your deep work? When should you meet with people? When should you rest? When should you think, plan, create, or recover? That kind of thinking is powerful because it moves you from reaction to design. And that leads to one of the strongest lines from these notes. We are ridiculously in charge of our time. That sentence is uncomfortable, but necessary, because many of us live as if time just happens to us. We act as if the day attacks us, the schedule controls us, and life simply pushes us around. But at some point, maturity means taking responsibility. Not for everything that happens, because life is real, and interruptions are real. But for how we respond, for how we structure our days, for what we say yes to, for what we allow to stay on our calendar, and for what we continue doing even when it no longer makes sense. This is where Rory Vaden's framework becomes very useful. It gives a simple way to think about all the tasks and responsibilities that compete for our time. There are 5 questions. First, can this be automated? In other words, is there anything in your life or work that can run without your constant involvement? Second, can this be delegated? Does this truly need you, or could someone else handle it? Third, can this be eliminated? This is a big one. Does this even need to happen at all? A lot of people are tired not because they are doing too much important work, but because they are carrying too much unnecessary work. Fourth, can this be intentionally delayed? Not everything urgent feels urgent because it truly matters. Sometimes things only feel urgent because we never stop to think clearly. And fifth, does this need concentration? Does this deserve your best focus, energy, and attention right now? That last question matters because many people are not doing deep work. They are just staying busy. They are touching many things, switching constantly, answering messages, reacting to noise, and feeling productive because they are active. But activity is not the same as effectiveness, and busyness is not the same as progress. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine someone says all week, "I do not have enough time." But when they look honestly at their schedule, they discover several things. Some tasks could be automated, some could be delegated, some should be eliminated completely. Some do not need attention this week at all. And 1 or 2 important things need focused concentration. Suddenly, the issue is not just time. The issue is stewardship. The issue is clarity. And that is very often where breakthrough begins. Not by squeezing more into the day, but by making better decisions about what belongs in the day. So what should you do this week if this message hits home? Start with the mindset. Notice where you are operating with a poverty mentality toward time. Notice the language you use. Do you constantly say, "I never have enough time. I'm always behind. There's no way I can do this. I'm overwhelmed. I can't keep up." That language shapes your inner world. So begin replacing it with something healthier. Try this. "I have all the time that I need for what God has actually given me to do today." Or simply, "I have all the time that I need." Then move to your calendar. Look at your week and ask, what can I automate? What can I delegate? What can I eliminate? What can I intentionally delay? And where do I need to concentrate deeply? That process alone can change a lot. Then take one more step. Instead of trying to fix everything at once, choose one area this week where you will practice a better time mindset. Maybe you stop starting the day in panic. Maybe you remove one unnecessary commitment. Maybe you block time for deep work. Maybe you stop calling everything urgent. Maybe you protect 1 hour of focused work instead of fragmenting the whole day. Small changes in time stewardship often create bigger results than dramatic overhauls. So here's the bottom line. Time management is not just about calendars, tools, and schedules. It begins with mindset. If you believe there is never enough time, you will often live rushed, pressured, and reactive. But if you begin to think from clarity, responsibility, and abundance, you can start using your time with far more wisdom. That does not mean life becomes easy. It means you stop living as if you are powerless. And that is a big shift, because we are not called just to survive our days. We are called to steward them. If this video helped you, subscribe to Business Made Simple, like the video, and leave a comment below telling me where you most often struggle with time, mindset, distraction, overload, or lack of clarity. That really helps us grow the channel, and I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.